Hey there everyone, we have come to the studio of conservator Bethany Palumbo. The studio is actually in there, but it's really small and tight. So we've come outside and we're going to talk about taxidermy. Tell us, Bethany, about these things on the wall of your studio.
These are some beautiful pieces of taxidermy. Taxidermy is the preservation of animal skin along with its fur and feathers or scales. And in modern day taxidermy artists like to aim to make the skin look as realistic as possible. This beautiful specimen is a Blesbok. This is a species from South Africa.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's quite light. Yeah, it's very light.
The reason for that...
Oh, look, it's like a pool table.
Unlike antique taxidermy, this specimen has been mounted over a form made of polyurethane foam. While polyurethane is really easy to work with and it's cheap to buy, there's a lot of research to demonstrate how quickly polyurethane foam can deteriorate.
I would have thought it was one of those things that lasts forever.
No, because it's just the chemicals that are used in its composition are really unstable. So even if the specimen is at the perfect environmental conditions, the chemical instability will still mean that the polyurethane foam inside will start to deteriorate. I'm not a taxidermist, so of course, if you want to make your mounts out of polyurethane foam, go ahead. And besides, it's more likely that your mount's going to be completely eaten by insect pests before the inside of it decomposes anyways.
Okay.
We've maintained the horns. They'll be kept as a skull cap like this and then put underneath the skin. And the eyes are made of glass, which also looks very realistic. If you can add realism to the fleshy surfaces, so when skin is preserved, these areas dry out, and it's important to add like some gloss and some paint to create a level of realism to that area as well. So
yeah, because the nose looks kind of like, for lack of a better word, like a bit mucusy.
Yeah, good. That's exactly what you want. You want him to have a really sweaty, sort of snotty nose.
All right. I'll let you put it back on.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You don't want to have a go?
No. If it goes wrong and drops, I'd rather you drop it.
There you go, lovely guy.
Have you given that a name yet, like Bruce or something?
No, but he's lovely, isn't he? Look at his sweet face.
Can we call him Bruce?
If you want, you can call him Bruce. That's an Australian name more than what's like a standard South African name?
I'm thinking of Jonty. Jonty's my favourite South African cricketer.
There you go, Jonty. This is a northern pike, which is quite a common species of fish in the North Atlantic, on both sides of the Atlantic. And this is an antique specimen, and I could tell when I bought it because the back was actually completely open and it was full of sawdust, and that was falling out. It's been repaired now.
Is that good or bad that it had sawdust in it?
That's fine. For a mountain like this, sawdust does the job because it's very flat and it's not like standing upright. It's actually suspended from a wall. Taxidermists can also use wood that's been carved into the form of the body, or you can have a metal armature that's had wool wiring wrapped around it to replicate the body as well.
And is that its actual skin?
That's real fish skin, yeah.
It's very smooth.
Yeah, it's really smooth. You can see a few of the scales are starting to lift.
Oh yeah.
That's just due to its age and change in its environment.
And like the things like the little fins and flippers and things, they're
the flippers have all been restored, so they didn't look anything like this when this piece arrived at the studio. In fact, they didn't really have any of the skin between any of the small bones. That's all been restored.
When you say restored though, you say it wasn't there, so you've actually put something in there new.
Yeah.
What did you use when you saw there was that gap between the bones and you needed like fake skin?
I was hoping we could get into that in the next video.
All right. Oh. Subscribe. Stay subscribed, people.
There's more, and Brady's going to have a go at restoring as well, aren't you, Brady?
That's in another video.
Glass eyes, beautiful, and they look actually like they've been hand painted, and that's another way to tell if a piece of taxidermy is antique. So these eyes are just commercially available eyes. They're made of glass. Here are some.
They're off the shelf.
Off the shelf, you can buy them clear like this, so you can paint the backs of them, or you can buy them basically pre-painted.
Oh, wow.
But in Victorian times, and right through in the early 20th century, they were still being painted by hand, and blown by hand and painted by hand.
So if you wanted brown eyes or blue eyes, you'd paint
Yeah.
Paint the
So these ones are customizable. It's got some lovely little pike teeth.
Oh yeah.
Once in Alberta, I was fishing for pike. We caught one. They are so strong. We dehooked it, and I was about to pose for a picture, and it went whoosh, and just jumped up and out of the boat.
Oh.
True story.
I once caught a fish and it was this big, but it got away. Are they the real teeth?
Yeah, real teeth.
Right.
So they're predators and they eat other smaller fish.
Back on the wall. Where did you say you were fishing? Alberta?
Alberta.
Alberta the pike.
Beautiful. So when handling antique taxidermy, it's really important to take PPE into consideration, not just for the coronavirus, of course, but because antique taxidermy has nearly always been prepared with heavy metal pesticides. This includes arsenic and mercury and lead. These are some really effective pesticides. Just one application to the inside of the skin will protect a specimen for hundreds of years, but of course this puts the humans that come into contact with that specimen at risk. A good way to work out maybe if a specimen has arsenic on it. Here we have a lovely cockatoo. This poor specimen has lots of pest damage.
Oh yeah.
So we've got losses of the feathers and the skin, and this was caused by a carpet beetle infestation.
I'm like feeling sorry for him, but he's dead.
He is already dead, yeah. And then
this is Australian. We can call this one Bruce.
This is a white-throated toucan. No pest damage. They've come from the same collection, they've been in the same storage. So I'm going to assume at this point this one's been treated with pesticides because it's in too pristine a condition. It makes it suspicious.
There you go, Bruce. Sorry about the damage. Bethany, does this count as taxidermy?
Yes and no. I'm not a taxidermist, so purists would probably consider it not to be a piece of taxidermy.
No, yeah.
But that's just a skullcap mount, and this shows inside a piece of taxidermy, for example, this beautiful caribou. Is he going to have a Scandinavian name? Is he going to have a Canadian name? What name are you going to give him, Brady?
Canadian. What about Justin?
No, that's so cringy.
What?
I was thinking something more like Lars.
Oh no, but you said Canadian.
He could be from Scandinavia or he could be Canadian.
Scandinavian? It sounds like you wanted me to say Lars.
Let's call him Lars. So inside of this mount, he'll have the skull cap, and that's what these massive antlers are attached onto.
Yeah.
He's got antique eyes as well. You can see they're hand painted, and the paint is actually starting to lift away from the glass.
Oh yeah. I think these are quite nice, these eyes though.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So he's still got his skull cap. Does he have other bits of his bone in here, or is this all stuffing?
The only way to know would be to take them all apart. He may very well have it in there because it's a really heavy specimen.
Okay.
So when he arrived here, the top of his head was completely bald. It had been completely eaten by moths. So I found another piece of pelt. Hold on, I'll get a piece for you before it was coloured.
I don't think Justin was that bad a name, was it?
You said it because of Bieber.
No, I was thinking of Justin Trudeau. Did you think I meant Justin Bieber? I didn't mean Justin Bieber, I meant Justin Trudeau. Did you think I meant Bieber?
No, I automatically assumed you meant Justin Bieber.
No!
So this is the piece of caribou felt that I purchased.
That's like way different colour.
Definitely. I cut it to size and then I thinned out the hair a lot because it was quite poofy, and then I airbrushed it with dyes to match the colour.
So basically he's wearing a toupee.
Toupee. Aww.
It's so realistic.
That's the finest piece I've ever restored, actually.
What's he called?
Frankie,
Frankie.
or you can call him Francois because he's a French lot. Aww.
What do we got? Do you think that's a larvae casing? Or is
No, but it does look like it has some frass in it.
Are you seeing this,
Let's
James,
keep
by the way?
looking.
I'm actually helping with real conservation work here by holding this light.
It's questionable. Let's keep looking.
What's that?
Ooh, yes, that's a good one. It looks like a fly egg. It's got something in it.
Oh, yeah. So that was like an egg stuck to the fabric.
A good place to look is always underneath because the moths like to be undisturbed. So they'll find somewhere where they can happily munch on stuff without being bothered.